want to go up there? Flip it to Lisa when she's on mountain, please.
What?
Flip it to Lisa when she's
Ram Keshav. Ram, portfolio accepted.
Congratulations, Ram.
Thank you.
Did you have a doubt that you weren't going to get through?
Nah, I was just nervous.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because more of like conceptual work, right? So it's like, yeah.
Okay, well, you made it through. I have to ask, what do you want to do when you leave? What's your idea?
I want to get into editorial, but then I also want to work with more like conceptual fairy tale themed stuff for personal projects.
Okay.
But as a career, I want to get into editorial portraits.
Editorial portraits,
Yeah.
okay. Environmental?
Yeah, environmental and editorial.
Editorial is not a genre, it's just how you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do editorial, it gives you a little more freedom in terms of advertising. When you work in advertising, as Michelle can tell you, there are a lot of people that make decisions, and you're one of the people that's part of a larger process. With editorial, you may get a call from a photo editor if they love your work and say, just go and photograph this person because I love what you do and I trust that you're going to come back with work that's similar to your portfolio. You don't get paid as much. I often call, it's less and less these days, but the reality is it used to be paid practice and free advertising because you get credit in a magazine. Advertising, you don't get a credit, your name's not there. So it's actually a fantastic way to get your name out and about and for people to see. And these days with Google, put your name in and then up comes up 5 feeds, Instagram, etc., etc. All right, well that said, I think you're definitely well on your way for editorial portrait photography career, I think. I wouldn't dissuade you from thinking about conceptual advertising as well. Maybe Michelle can talk to that a little bit. Because I think you have maybe the last 3 shots for me a little stronger, just in terms of their sort of graphic simplicity.
Yeah.
I think there are 2 others that I feel maybe you were going in a narrative direction and they didn't work so well. Anyway, with that said, choose your 5 faves and we'll go from there.
Could I choose more than 5?
How many?
Just a couple more.
You want to go to 7?
Yes.
All right.
Because
It's a negotiator. All right.
okay. Well, the first 5.
First 5.
Yes. I'm done off that way. And then the bottom, the second row, the 2 black and whites.
These 2?
Yeah.
This one?
That one, and then the one right next to it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I would suggest that, just in terms of conceptual ideas, take out those.
Okay.
So those, I feel it would then be, out of those 7, those would be the 4 stronger images in terms of your ideas of conceptual, work. I want to know what's going on here a little bit. Here I'm just saying, as a viewer of the work, I'm kind of reading that this might be Little Red Riding Hood, fairy tale, Alice in the Teacup. So this could be a lot of different things. So yeah, okay. What I would say to everyone as well is be careful of choosing the same subject and having them in your portfolio, different environments, different situations. It will feel to a portfolio reviewer or an editor, a photo editor, that you're just filling your book. Now I know that we're here for the portfolio review, and this might have been a different purpose, but do be very wary of that, because other people will say, you're just repeating the same person. So try to get different people in your book. If it's a fashion story or an editorial story, afterwards, then you're going to have more people in that situation. Um, so for me, just in terms of stills, I thought these were your strongest conceptual stills in terms of the idea, the concept you came up with. This is, you know, for let's say the maker of strawberry, you know, froze fruit or something. It's like strawberries on a stick, you know, the creamy strawberries, and there it is. You know, it's physically right there. That's what it tastes like. So it evokes that, and that would be a perfect advertising food shop. This one, initially I was a little annoyed by the cropping, but then I thought, you know what, I like that you have that you cropped it, and there's a little battle going on.
I kind of had like 5 different crops on this picture because I shot it as a whole, and then I had 5 different crops. I made 5 different prints, and then put everything right besides it.
Okay.
And then I figured that was the best one. That was more graphic when I put them along with the other works that I had.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and then what you have is you have a tension here between the shadow and the edge of the saucer, and then you have a tension here with the cropping.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll actually feel, you know, while it's lower in the frame initially, it doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe if we rotated it, maybe it would feel different.
Mm-hmm.
When you have things that are lower in the frame, it can feel that they're falling out of the frame. But that said, I think very graphic. I will say, I have to say it. Michelle probably wants to say it, and she might say it later on. It's like the 2 top ones are sort of narrative advertising, slice of life moment.
Mm-hmm.
We can't see the tea. You can't see it. The last image, there it is. You know, very different style, but the top 2, we get where you were going for, but you can't see the tea.
Okay.
There's also, you clearly like tea. You've got at least 5 images of tea. Surprised you didn't walk up with a cup of tea.
I have one.
Okay, perfect. It's the perfect person to start review. But yeah, the tea should be together, and there should be some actual tea.
Okay.
A tea bag, perhaps out of the first cup. I noticed that as well.
And so this image here, that's just, I mean, Lemon Zinger would not be interested in this at all. You take that box out and you wonder what's going on. So is it someone's just left this and, you know, just divided the dishes? So in terms of a portrait or in an environment, put your thumb over the product here. Is the, you know, your 2 fingers, is the rest of that photograph interesting to look at? Is it the right angle? Should it be higher up? Do we really want to see the door and the, you know, the back windows? No. So this one needs to come out or be reworked.
Okay.
If you want to do a narrative-based advertising. And then this one, the roses are on the cup. You don't need a rose next to the cup.
Okay.
And then it's just the product, bang. You take the product out, then you may be going somewhere in terms of the books and some ideas about, you know, bedtime stories and, you know, tea. So be very careful in the message that you want to convey when you create a concept, because then it can become confusing and then people just might not know what's going on. Just a couple of images that I wanted to point out that I liked a lot, but would like to see maybe something on the edit. I thought these were, and this one as well, I think. I thought these were strong images in terms of the composition. These 2, obviously, the location that you found, and we know that everyone goes flying, but you chose a very low angle, and you know, you've got this dynamic line across there. I thought that was great. You've learned how to do location lighting, so you've got this wonderful light here, shadows dropping off there. It's a natural feeling, a natural, you know, the hand is, you know, not on the hip, but it's a natural feeling. So you buy into that aspirational moment looking out of the frame. Great. This one, great. Location, you know, there's a cave here, but her arms are tucked behind her. So it becomes intriguing, like where are her arms, what's going on. She's looking out of the frame, again, aspirational, thoughtful. But I think I'd love to see another edit of this image, because you've gone through a very, you know, amazing location. You've got this fantastic design, you know, clothing. And so there's a contrast between the rocks and her and what she's wearing. You know, good-looking model as well, but her arms just don't feel right. So I would look for
I
every
didn't
edit.
want like the other edits that I had were more like on the hip, and then the like how the instructors call it, the armpit shots.
Right,
So
right.
so this one was like more of the better pick. So but I do have like a few more edits that I can
Okay.
go over.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen her maybe more interacting with the environment.
Okay.
There's a classic Roxy Music album cover with a very famous model called Jerry Hall.
Mhm.
I think it's called Siren, and it's her climbing over the rocks, like almost like a mermaid sort of thing.
Okay.
And so it's again in terms of the ideas that I have about you and your storytelling capabilities and your love of fairy tales and things like that. I'd like to see you go in that direction with this location and this model and see whether you can then
Okay.
just push it a little bit.
Okay.
And then, great studio lighting, wonderful. The cropping is horizontal, so it feels to me, I would like to see this in a portrait format.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure whether you were going for an advertising image, a fashion image. To me, his look towards the camera is more of a portrait. So for your book, I would find out if you have another edit of this, maybe that when you went portrait format, and maybe it's just him in a shirt looking at the camera in more of a portrait feel. But anyway, I'm going to hand over to my esteemed colleague, Scott, and hopefully we can talk about this image as well, because I don't feel that should be in your book.
Okay.
But anyway.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Simon did a great job. I'm not sure what else I should talk about.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I guess I know it's the same thing about the modeled stuff, I guess. Here, and then this guy, where else was he? Which other shot? Oh, yes. So those are all, is that the same model, right? On the left, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so same thing. So just try not to use, the same people over and over in your book. I mean, it's in school it's a little tougher, obviously. So, just try to fill in those gaps a little bit more. But yeah, overall, really good job. I was going to talk about, this one as well. I don't think that's one of your stronger images. Just lighting wise, everything. It kind of, and it's really hard to. You don't see the whole bag, you don't really know what's going on. Obviously, it's probably for doctors, it's kind of what you're thinking. But yeah, I just feel like it's probably one of your weaker images.
Oh.
Would you agree?
I do.
Yeah. I really liked your watch image.
He should reshoot that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, graduation is
You
next
passed,
Friday,
or
or-
it got
Yes.
through?
Yeah. I mean, are you interested in doing this kind of stuff as well? I know you said you want to do kind of more editorial, but
I'm open to exploring any kind of photo, as long as I can, photograph something, then
Right.
I'm happy. So.
okay, well that's good. Yeah, I mean, try to follow your passion first, obviously.
Yeah.
But obviously you need to make money too. So shoot whatever. Then if you're open to doing that, then then do that. But if you can get like these clients and stuff like for ad work, I mean, it'll be good to have in your book. As I'm sure Michelle will tell you, like it's good is to to have that stuff because commercial stuff pays really well. So if you can get doctors as a client, come up with a better doctors kind of shot. Like even I guess for me too, like this one doesn't say doctors to me. It's kind of because it's kind of it's very dark. It almost is like more like Kenneth Cole, like versus doctors. Like it's like see doctors more bright and airy, but that might just be me.
Maybe, just to throw it out there, you have these lovely images at the top, the fairy tale images.
Yeah.
You then have the tea images down below. Why don't you have Alice drinking lemon zinger tea in the forest, and you have the label of the tea bag, there's your product on location. Just in terms of an advertising concept for your kind of photography.
Do you really love tea? I thought the same thing too.
Yeah, it's the concept of tea is it's really fascinating, and I'm a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland. So from when I was growing up, that drink me, it's like I actually wanted to go a bit more and add the drink me tag to the picture that I did, but then I thought that would be pushing it. So.
Okay. Now I get it. That's why she's on the actual right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, like maybe that's your theme. You could be the tea guy. Yeah. I really liked your watch shot here. I thought this was really well done. One thing I noticed in the print, I don't know if it's gonna be in here, oh yeah, so it is, so you got like a little bit of sensor,
Yeah.
dust going on, I think it was, so just Photoshop that stuff out, I mean, that's really easy, but,
Yeah.
you know, always zoom into your image, especially because this one's like so sharp and crisp,
Mhm.
so things like that really stand out, but, you know, just take that out.
Okay.
But that's a great shot, I think, it's really nice, I like the colors, like that you match the belt with the watch, looks really good, sharp. Yeah, I think so. Actually, I really like the fire. I think this is one of the better fireman pictures that we've seen. You did it different. I like the old trucks too. The only thing I probably would have done is just put these down, just so you don't see them.
Okay.
Because I feel like it kind of ruins the old coolness of this. I kept seeing these in the background, so just, you know, I mean, that's gonna be hard to Photoshop out, but
Okay.
you know, that's one thing I noticed in that picture. But I think that's a great shot. So, but yeah, congratulations. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where are you going after Hallmark?
I'm heading back to India.
Cool.
So there I'm gonna try and assist a few different kinds of photographers. So I'm just gonna start looking out from now.
Great, so
Yeah.
but the passion is,
Whereabouts in India?
Down south in Madras.
Okay.
So that's next to Bangalore.
All right.
So
so your passion
Oh.
is really conceptual.
yeah,
So-
I was into weddings, and so I came to get away from that. So
okay.
now it's more editorial is what I'm leaning towards.
So I think my colleagues alluded to it, but advertising pays really well.
Yeah.
And if you can get a conceptual gig doing
Mhm.
photography, it could pay anywhere from $10,000 upward just for that one
Mhm.
job. And you have a very strong sense of how to execute, which is really nice to see. So my recommendation is to continue doing your personal projects,
Mhm.
build up a book of all sorts of conceptual, and then when the time comes for a creative team to look for a conceptual artist to partner with, you'd be the guy. So this is how it works in advertising. The art director, the creative team comes up with the concept. So they would come up with, they'd sketch this, or they'd pull swipe, and they wouldn't necessarily come to a photographer and ask them for their ideas. They'd already have the idea sketched out. It's already been tested with market research companies. It's already signed off by 5 clients. They'd want you to help execute it.
Okay.
So you wouldn't get as much satisfaction because you wouldn't be as involved in the creative process.
Mhm.
So one of two things, you'd be open to executing their idea, and the best photographers I've worked with say, let me shoot exactly what everybody signed off on, but also let me shoot what I think would be best for this too.
Mm.
And most often we go with what the photographer thought was best, but you have to give the client what they want.
Sure.
So if you're cool with just executing other people's ideas, advertising is the way to go. If you don't feel like you want to just take directions and be an order taker, then probably editorial is the way to go, where somebody calls you up and says, we have this idea, figure it out.
Mm.
Then you can be the creative lead on it. The other thing that I thought when I saw your work is, maybe you are an art director secretly struggling to get out. Some of the best art directors are actually photographers.
Mhm.
So maybe that's something that you might want to explore, coming up with the ideas, working at an agency and saying, hey, this is great, let's do it this way, and then I'll show you how to execute it, and you could be a jack of all trades.
Okay.
So these are just a couple of things I thought of. What photographers do you follow that you admire?
I follow more artists than photographers, so I draw
Okay.
my inspirations from art. So
Okay.
and Michelangelo and Bernini and Picasso are like, so I draw my colors from Picasso.
Okay, great.
And Bernini and Michelangelo are my 2 favorite sculptors and artists, where I draw like the postures and the concepts that they're going with. And as for photographers, Arnold Newman for his environmental portraits, and then Irving Penn.
Nice.
Yes.
So, but you want to make money, right?
Yeah,
Like the
I
rest
do.
of us.
Yeah,
So,
everybody does.
that's all great,
Mhm.
and continue to do it. And I urge everybody in the room to go to museums and galleries and see films and expand beyond photography, because to your point, it really does help you create. But I would suggest that you start Googling conceptual photographers and see what's out there, because you wanna know what your competition is. You wanna know what other people are doing, what you could do differently. You could probably look at an image and say, that's great, but I would have done it this way, just so that you can expand your book and go from there. But I think you have a fantastic start, and you've got a good command of concepting and colors and technical techniques, so I commend you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yo, this is my jam. Time for the win. I don't know what to do.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes.
Hey.
Good job, Ronnie.
Thank you. Are they still on?
Yeah.